Welcome to the 5th episode of the Grand Cosmic Story. We all love to wear designer clothes. What if you are living in a designer universe? What if your universe has been so finely and exquisitely designed just for you? Does this sound astounding? The fact is that you are indeed living in such a universe.
Are you curious about the world around you? Do you wonder what else is out there beyond our world? Dr. Latha Christie, a scientist and an author, will take you on a journey through the universe. Join her in exploring the universe through her web series, The Grand Cosmic Story. Stay tuned to find out what today's episode is all about.
Today, we will ponder the question, what might have happened if our world had been different from what it is now? What if the Big Bang event had been a chaotic explosion instead of a finely tuned expansion event? Every star, every planet, and every living creature is the result of the initial moment of the cosmic explosion called the Big Bang. If the Big Bang had not been adequately controlled and guided, a tiny, hot, and exceptionally high energy universe would not have turned into a vast habitable universe like ours. Only an astounding degree of fine-tuning and careful design could have produced this vast universe with its galaxies and stars. Dr. John Polkinghorne, professor of mathematical physics at the University of Cambridge, commented, "In the earliest picoseconds of our universe, the fine-tuning of things had to be so amazingly precise if you consider just one variable of the many. For example, the expansion-contraction ratio, it had to be so exact that it would be like aiming at a 1 square inch target at the other end of the universe around 20 billion light years away and hitting it bull's eye." Regarding the expansion of our universe, the late Stephen Hawking remarked, "Why did the universe start with so nearly the critical rate of expansion that separates models that recollapse from those that go on expanding forever, that even now, 10 billion years later, it's still expanding at the same critical expansion rate?" If the rate of expansion 1 second after the Big Bang would have been smaller by even 1 part in 100,000 million, the whole universe would have collapsed before it ever reached this present size. Many features of our universe seem to strongly suggest that reaching its present state was not something random and chaotic, but rather highly ordered and intentional. Let's take the case of the 4 fundamental forces of nature. What if the value of the gravitational constant a little different? Would the universe have still come into existence then? As per the inflationary Big Bang model, a small period of accelerated expansion at about 10 power minus 35 seconds after the initial Big Bang caused a perfect balance between the gravitational pull of the universe and the rate of expansion of the universe and the density of the universe. Physicists say that at that instant, the gravitational constant has been fine-tuned to 1 part in 10 power 34. The expansion rate of the universe has been fine-tuned to 1 part in 10 power 55, and the mass density of the universe was fine-tuned to 1 part in 10 power 59. Is not this precision fantastic? If the expansion of space had been stronger than the pull of the gravity in the newborn universe, stars, galaxies, and humans would have never been formed. If, on the other hand, the force of gravity had been much stronger, stars and galaxies might have formed, but they would have quickly collapsed in on themselves or clashed with each other. Suppose the value of the universal gravitational constant g that determines the force of gravity is just a tiny bit more or less than it is, our cosmic history could have been over before it ever started. Now tell me, is not our universe an incredibly special place? Does this not point to a grand design? Let's now explore the other 3 forces of nature, the electromagnetic force, the strong and the weak nuclear forces. If the strong nuclear force had been slightly more powerful than it actually was, there would have been no hydrogen, which is an essential element for life. Had it been slightly weaker, hydrogen would be the only element in existence and life would have never been possible. Likewise, had the weak nuclear force been slightly different from what it is now, stars would burn out too quickly and heavy elements that are crucial for life on Earth, normally produced during stellar explosions, could not have formed. Had the electromagnetic force been slightly stronger or slightly weaker, atomic bonds and thus the complex molecules would not have existed. In all these scenarios, the universe with life as we know would have been simply impossible. Like the four fundamental forces of nature, let us find out what happens if the fundamental constants of nature, the DNA of our universe, had other values than the present ones. There are around 26 fundamental constants that describe our physical world from atomic to cosmological scales. Their numbers are universal. They do not change in different times or places. Had the proton to electron mass and neutron to proton mass ratio had been different by a significant degree, many essential components necessary for life, such as DNA, would not have existed. The fine structure constant is a mysterious constant denoted by the Greek letter alpha. It is approximately equal to 1 by 137 or 1 by 137.035999913 to be precise. And it has to be so precise that it has inspired a lot of numerologists. It's a pure number that shapes the universe to an astonishing degree, and it characterizes the strength of the electromagnetic force affecting charged particles such as electrons and protons. It commonly appears in formulas governing light and matter. If the fine structure constant had a different value, then atoms would have had different sizes and our chemistry would have totally changed. Astronomers now say that around 25 to 30 parameters have been exquisitely finely tuned for life to thrive in our universe. Even the tiniest changes to these constants in the universe would make life impossible. Not too hot, not too cold, not too large, not too small, not too far, not too near. The universe appears to be standing on the knife edge of its existence. It's like winning a lottery from all combinations. Really mysterious. It is startling that everything right from the sunlight to the very laws of physics suggests that the universe was carefully designed such that it was expecting life to come into existence. Now, if I roll a dice, what are the chances of getting a 6? It is 1 in 6. Now, what is the chance for me to get a continuous 6 if I roll the dice 10 times? If I get continuously 6 10 times, I have to be pretty lucky. Now, what if I roll the dice 70 times and every single time I get a 6? That's pretty unlikely. That is odd. You might start to look at me suspiciously as if I'm doing some magic. Cosmologists are now waking up and grappling with this apparent fine-tuning, wondering about the odds of us being here. Paul Davies says, scientists are slowly waking up to an inconvenient truth. The universe looks suspiciously like a fix. Like baby bear's porridge in the story of Goldilocks, the universe seems to be just right for life. So what's going on? It seems to me as though somebody has fine-tuned nature's numbers to make our universe. The impression of design is overwhelming. The British physicist Stephen Hawking writes in his book, A Brief History of Time, the remarkable fact is that the values of these numbers seem to have been very finely adjusted to make possible the development of life. Astronomer Fred Hoyle exclaimed, a common sense interpretation of the fact suggests that a super intellect has monkeyed with physics as well as chemistry and biology, and that there are no blind forces worth speaking about in nature. Physicist Freeman Dyson wrote, "The more I examine the universe and the details of its architecture, the more evidence I find that the universe is in some sense must have known that we are coming." The apparent fine-tuning raises poignant questions like why the universe looks suspiciously as though it was designed to make life possible. Why are there so many surprising coincidences? Why does the universe seem to have this amazing fine-tuning? Why does our universe look as though it was specially designed for the possibility of life? Can all these be a mere fluke or pure accidents? Some scientists say that all these are just pure accidents because there may be many infinite universes or multiverses, and the constants can take any value in these universes. And in our universe, these constants simply happen by chance or accident to be just right so that we exist by chance or accident. According to this argument, our universe simply happens to provide the right conditions needed for life by sheer chance, and we happen to be the lucky ones to have come into existence. The fact, however, is that there is simply no evidence of a multiverse or infinite universes. Many cosmologists debate whether the idea of a multiverse is really in the realm of science because such an idea cannot be tested experimentally. In this regard, we can ask, what about the origin of the supposed multiverse? What is the mechanism for generating these many hypothetical universes? Advocates of the multiverse theory are not able to reply satisfactorily to these questions. The problem of the existence of a finely tuned universe has just been pushed a step back by claiming it to be a mere chance happening, a fluke amidst multiple universes without eliminating the mechanism of fine-tuning. Let us suppose that you are designing a universe-generating machine with many dials, each representing some parameter of the universe. For example, one dial may represent the possible settings for the strong nuclear force, a second dial for the gravitational constant, a third one for the rate of the neutron mass to the proton mass, and so on. Assume that you have also programmed the machine in such a way that the dials are set to the right value that can bring a life-giving universe into existence. Let's suppose one of your friends now gets into that room, read all the precise settings of all the parameters, and realizes that if she tries to alter any one of these dial settings by rotating the corresponding dial this side or that side, even a tiny bit, a life-giving universe would not be possible. What would she infer? Would she declare that the universe-creating machine with all its precise dial settings came into existence on its own? Of course, she cannot say that. Rather, she would likely be eager to meet the one who developed such a machine. The apparent fine-tuning seems to suggest that there is a supreme being behind the creation of the universe who designed it in a very, very precise way for it to support life. The astronomer Greenstein asks, is it possible that suddenly, without intending to, we have stumbled upon the scientific proof of the existence of a supreme being? The words of American astronomer and physicist Robert Jastrow are very pertinent. For the scientist who has lived by his faith in the power of reason, the story ends like a bad dream. He has scaled the mountains of ignorance, is about to conquer the highest peak, and as he pulls himself over that final rock, he is greeted by a band of theologians who have been sitting there for centuries. Compelling evidence for an intelligent designer is built into the very fabric of the universe.
For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. All things were created through him and for him. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together.
This points to the fact that the concept of an eternal God who designed and created the universe seems the most obvious and plausible answer to the question of why the universe appears to be finely tuned and why this beautiful universe has so many life forms in it as we can see. Bye for now. See you again in the next episode.